Hey everyone, it's Laurel here with another video from my collaboration series. It's the collab with the two L's. It's me and Laura Sturks of Making Cards is Fun. Decided to put together this collaboration series. Last time we did this was back in November, and we used the same stamp set. This time we're going to use the same mood board, and this is something that Laura created. And I was so inspired by the colors here, the very soft colors. I'm in love with that blue and black combination. I love the blue typewriter. So the inspiration taken on my card here is that picture up in the top left-hand corner. It's that black stripe and that blue. I just think it's so pretty. So last time we did the same stamp set. This time we're doing the same inspiration board. Who knows what we're going to do next time, so be sure to follow our channels and check it out. This is the card that I'm going to be making today, and it's funny, it occurred to me that the last collaboration video that I did, I also used a striped background, so I guess I really like stripes, especially big black stripes. So I used a stamp in my last video, but I wanted to show you that you can get the same look with a stencil if you have one. This is the Diagonal Stripe stencil by Winnie and Walter, and it's their creative screenings actually. I'll link to it below. So what I'm doing is I want to make sure I secure my cardstock to my stencil, but I can't do that on the front because then I'll cover up my design. So I've kind of, using the back of that stencil, I taped it down. Now I'm flipping it over, so I've got my card front here, and I'm going to go ahead and grab some more of that painter's tape, and I'm securing that down to my work surface. And now I can go ahead and use my stripes. Now I did a couple of other backgrounds. I did one with embossing paste tinted with black gesso. I did another with embossing paste tinted with this black soot distress ink. And after all that, I decided I didn't want any dimension to my background. So I'm going in with some this is Black Soot Distress Ink by Tim Holtz, and I'm inking up the background there. I'm using a mini round blending tool. I love these little guys. I have switched all the old blending tools in with the new one. I also have the mini ink pads, and I could have done a direct pad to the stencil to get a deeper wash of color, but I like the look that this is going to leave behind when I'm done, because as applying it, when you peel it up, you almost get this like ombre look of black. It's just pretty. Isn't that pretty? I love all the soft shadows that you're getting in between that. So I'm carefully peeling off my washi, it's not washi tape, that's painter's tape, and then I'm just going to set that off to the side, and then I'm going to work on the next part of my card. I always clean my work surface as I go, otherwise ink gets everywhere. This is the Right Stuff Picture Perfect by Winnie and Walter again, and I'm going to be using that camera there. I just love it. It's like a little Instagram. It's the Right Stuff. Is that what I said? I hope I said the name right. But again, all of the supplies are linked below in my YouTube description as well as over on my blog. So I'm going to ink up that little camera there with some VersaFine Onyx Black ink. That's my go-to pigment ink. I'm going to, I just love it. It gives a great, deep impression. I'm going to be doing some watercoloring with some distress inks. So anytime I do watercoloring, I always heat emboss my image because I want to keep that the outline of the images crisp and black. So because that's a pigment ink, they stay wet longer, so I'm able to sprinkle on some clear embossing powder, and then I can go ahead and heat set that, and then my color of the stamped image won't fade, and also that embossed image acts as a barrier when I do some watercoloring. But because I'm going to be fussy cutting this out, I really don't have to worry about staying in the lines. So I really did the heat embossing because I want that image to maintain its crisp and blackness. So that's my key, and I do that anytime I do any kind of watercoloring whatsoever. So now that I've gone ahead and gotten that heat embossed, it's time to pull in the blues from the mood board. And the mood board photo will also be posted on my blog as well. So you can check that out. It's really a gorgeous board that she's put together. So I've got two colors of distress inks here. This is Tumbled Glass, and then I'm going to go in with Peacock Feathers. Now, the Peacock Feathers is going to basically overshadow the Tumbled Glass. So I'm going to fix this as I go. So you're going to see some bloopers. This is a Perfect Pearls mist here. You can create this on your own by adding the Perfect Pearl powder in with some water, or you can buy it pre-bought, which is what I did because I'm lazy. So I'm going to go ahead and take my card panel there, and I am just smushing it in together. My goal was to get some of the lighter and darker blue in there, but you know, the Peacock Feathers, which is my favorite color, y'all all know that, just kind of overtook that Tumbled Glass. But that's okay, we're going to fix it. No worries. So I wanted to make sure I have a lot of puddles there. I really like when I have puddles on my project. I like what that leaves behind when you let it dry. So I'm going in and just kind of dabbing off some of the puddles. I'm moving the cardstock around to move some of the puddles. It's just whatever you want to do. The key to watercoloring, I think, that you just got to leave it alone and then it'll do its best. But in this case, I wanted to move those petals of water around a little bit, so I've grabbed my heat gun. And in doing this, two things are happening. One, I'm drying it fast because I'm really on a short time period making this card. I think my daughter is napping. And secondly, I'm able to kind of maneuver that water where I want it to go and the petals until they dry. I can kind of push them around with the hot air and get them where I want them to be. So now I'm going to go ahead and add some, this is some Mr. Huey's white spray. I was going to say ink, but so I'm going ahead and flicking that on there, and I've got that where it's where I want it to be. I'm just adding a little bit of fun to this camera. Now I'm going to go in with some more of that Perfect Pearls mixture, and I'm going to flick in some more Perfect Pearls. It's hard to see because what happens when you use Distress Inks, it reacts with the water. So when I'm flipping in that Perfect Pearls, it's pulling up some of the color, and it's just really pretty. So I'm actually going in with the tip of my stick and making sure I'm getting some of that Perfect Pearls mixture where I want it to be. And in doing this, it's going to leave some fun shine behind. And then this is so funny that I'm doing so much with this little itty bitty tiny image, isn't it? But I'm not done. There's a little bit more I'm going to do to this little tiny camera. I'm going to take some water and I'm going to spray it into my hand and flick on some more water. Yep, let's go ahead and just do all kinds of flicking on this little image. But it pays off because I really think it's fun. I really think that the look that it leaves behind is so much fun. You've got the sparkle from not only the embossing that we did for the heat embossed image, but also from the Perfect Pearls, and then we've got the water, and then we've got the white. It's just fun. So these are the stitched circle dies. These are from the last release of Lawn Fawn, not to be confused with what's happening at CHA right now. So this is the stitched. I actually have both. I have the large and the small. See, they all nestle in perfectly with each other. So I've got every single stinking size circle that you need. So I went ahead and picked a size that I thought looked best for the camera. I didn't want to overtake the striped background. And I'm going to go ahead and run that through my die cutting machine off camera because I use the Vagabond. That's not something I can easily film. So I've gone ahead and done that, and then you get this really fun circle with that stitched edge, and I just love the stitch detail. It's just, stitched dies seem to be very popular right now, and I just love that little bit of detail that it leaves behind. If you don't have a stitch die, you can go in with a pen and create your own little stitch marks. Or if you sew or you have a paper piercer or something, you can create your own stitched marks too. So here's my tumbled glass. Told you I was going to incorporate it a little bit more. I was going to get that in there. So I'm going to go ahead and smush the tumbled glass down onto the craft worksheet there, add in some water, and then smush around my stitched circle panel to bring in that tumbled glass since my peacock feathers took over, which was okay. This all turned out to be just fine. But this is my total process of how I craft. It's hilarious. I just go with it. I don't plan anything out in advance. I just go with whatever I got, you know? So I decided I wanted to add a little bit of definition around the edges. So that's some chipped sapphire distress ink. Doing the same thing, mushing it into my craft surface, spraying it with water, and I'm just kind of picking up some of that around the edges there. I don't want it in the middle, so I'm being very careful where I'm applying that chipped sapphire because I don't want that to take over my tumbled glass. I was bound and determined to have that tumbled glass into my in my card today. So again, I'm taking my heat tool, and you can see now, you can see a little bit better than you couldn't in the last one. You can see how I'm manipulating that water. I'm moving it where I want it to go, and at the same time I'm going ahead and drying this so I can finish up this card here. So I'm just moving it around, and I love that look it leaves behind. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Love it. So I've got that all nice, all dry. I love the little ring. See that little ring over there in the left-hand corner? I just like that look. You could have left it alone and let it dry on its own. But like I said, my daughter was about to wake up from her nap, and I had to get this ball rolling and finish this card up. This is actually a very, very easy card to make and recreate if you want to. So I've gone ahead and picked up the sentiment that I'm going to be using here. It says real life selfie, and I've gone ahead and mounted that onto an acrylic block. I do strongly advise acrylic blocks with grid lines, by the way. It's easier to line up your sentiments. So I've gone ahead and stamped that. I also picked up that heart there from the same stamp set. You're going to see a little blooper here, but I kept it in the video for you because bloopers are funny. I mean, I don't know any single crafter that doesn't make mistakes. None. And if they say they don't, then they're lying. So I've got some Avery L pigment ink here, and I'm stamping that heart. Now, because that Mr. Huey's, that Hero Arts spray was there. You can see that little white dot there. I'm just stamping and stamping, and I think I'm going to be able to stamp right over that white dot, but I didn't. But that's okay. It still brings out all that texture and stuff. It's still so much fun. So it's time to go ahead and pull everything together. So I did go in a little bit of fast motion here because I didn't want you to get bored. I'm going around the edges of this stitched circle die with some black soot distressing. Got to bring in some black from the base there that we created. I'm going to go ahead and adhere that circle, that stitched circle, down flat. I didn't want any dimension here. I wanted it to go down flat. So I'm putting on a lot of adhesive there because I did add some water to that, so the cardstock did warp just a little bit. That is watercolored paper, by the way. I do recommend for the camera and the circle, if you're going to go in with the watercolor, to make sure you use watercolor paper. By the way, I don't think I mentioned that before. So now it's time to get that base going. I decided to bring in some more tumble glass. Originally I was going to mount it on the white card base, but I decided I wanted that blue because that was in the mood board, and I just love those two colors together. So I'm just going in with the tumble glass, just going around the edges. I don't need to worry about the middle of the card because that's going to be covered up with the panel. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere the striped panel down to my card base, just right there in the center. This is a standard A2 card, so it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And now it's time to go ahead and mount that camera, and then we're almost going to be done. So I'm grabbing some foam squares here, and I put a bunch on the back there. I'm going to peel off that backing paper, and then that is the only popped up item that I'm going to have on my card. So I'm going to go ahead and center that up as best as I can and just pop that down there, and we're almost done. The last thing I'm going in and doing is taking a red Wink of Stella glitter pen and going in and covering that heart with some fun glitter, and then when that dries, this Wink of Stella doesn't take too long to dry, but when that dries, I'm going to go in with some glossy accents and put some glossy accents over that heart, and that's going to do twofold. It's going to be glossy, obviously, and then you're going to see that glitter shining through. I love putting glossy accents over Wink of Stella. I think it's such a fun and cool look. So that's the card for today. That's the collab with the 2 L's. We will be back next time with a new fun video. So thanks so much for watching. And be sure to head over to Laura's blog. It will be linked below in my YouTube description as well. And again, all the supplies are listed. And you can head on over to my blog if you want to see some more photos of the project. Also the mood board. And thanks so much for watching. Hope you have a great day.